Yeah, I definitely do have a few belts. There's a number here. And a lot of people probably think, wow, you have all those belts, so you know so much. Like you have nothing left to learn. And that is a common misconception, because just today, I was on Instagram, I saw Alex Pereira demonstrating how he does his fade back to his cross. And there was a massive point, which I went, how did I never realize that before? How have I never been taught that? It's so important to throwing that fade back and following with the cross the same way Pereira does. To have the same success, we need to know this. So let's dive right in. It's Black Friday month, everybody. We have a massive sale at Strike Ready. Check that out. Right now is the perfect opportunity to up your striking skills, both in terms of offense and defense. And why am I gonna be able to assist you in improving your striking skills? Well, just like Alex Pereira, I'm a former Glory champion. I have 2 belts with him, and I know what it takes to become a champion. My Strike Ready program is a complete fight system for striking sports. This is the best deal of the year. You will have access to my Strike Ready defense course, my Strike Ready assault course, and our weekly videos in Strike Ready Academy. And if you buy these programs individually, they are valued at $419.86. But for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, you can get all 3 for $99. That's a savings of over $320. This is a limited time offer and only happens once per year. Grab that Strike Ready package and start improving your striking skills at an exponential rate. There is coaching advice here that only a 6-time Pro World Champion and a 2-time Glory World Champion can deliver to you. If you think you learned a lot on the channel, imagine how much you'll learn where I have courses that I have specifically designed to help you improve your defense, your offense, and then joining the academy, you get those weekly videos. So much to learn. Gonna improve your skill set. So, Pereira, we've seen him so many times when he spars. It's almost like he doesn't really activate arm defense that much. He's more hands here, and he more rolls, moves with shots, but he doesn't do it the way that a normal person would, right? A normal person would probably bend their knees. They'd be pretty dramatic with their drops and their pulls. He just kind of more like just that small movement. And I kind of always went, how does he have so much success at fading, making somebody miss, but then hitting them? Because if you take a look here at Bob, I'm gonna pull him in just so we have a distance gauge here. So unless you have dramatically longer arms than somebody, like so much longer, which maybe to a certain extent he does, he's a big dude, but either way, if I can hit Bob here, just hit him, then when I fade back, that means they miss. Most likely, they're gonna be throwing their shot from a very good stance, maybe leaning slightly forward. But once I fade back, there's a good chance as I go to throw the return, I'm gonna be just out of range. They were out of range, I'm gonna be out of range, right? This guy has to move forward, so as soon as I do that and I throw back, I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna have success. And personally for me, the fade back cross doesn't work that much, but I'm looking forward to adding this new element, which Pereira demonstrated. And what he does is not simply just fade back and keep his feet planted. He does the opposite of what you might think. Most people, when they do their fade back, they'll step off their back foot. Helps create more distance, gives you a little bit more support as well, because when you pull backwards, you can feel the extra weight land here. So the further this leg is back, the stronger you're gonna feel balance-wise. But he does the opposite. He takes his lead foot, he's saying, and he just does that. Obviously a very subtle step forward. But what that allows him to do is, if before he was like, okay, now I'm just out of range. I'm standing here, I'm just out of range. Now with that little step forward, he's within range. So he moves his head back while stepping forward. And I don't know if he does this in all his fights and I've just been oblivious to the fact that that is there. Maybe I'm focused on his upper body, but this is very important. It's something that I want to try and add in. But again, I'll caution you about overstepping, because as I pull back, if I step far forward, now I'm gonna end up in this terrible position where I'm extended already through my back and I've moved within punch range. Now if you get hit, it's gonna be brutal. So it's gotta be, okay, yeah, I pulled it here and I just take the smallest steps. So you see, my head doesn't really need to shift forward because of that. I can be here and just close that gap a little bit. I would play around with this because I think it might be a little golden nugget of information that he shared wherever he was there on a seminar or doing some sparring with somebody, made its way to Instagram. Now I'm showing it to you guys. I think it's something that will be very, very important. How far of a distance are we gonna work on stepping forward? I would say don't go any more than toes length. So we're talking maybe an inch. Standing here, you pull back, and then into the cross. Now, something else you're gonna note that he does is he rotates his body as he takes that step. Because if I stay very square and I do this, especially if you're not super flexible through the lower back like I'm not, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, that's my range. And if I do get hit here, I don't have any more real extension range. So it's gonna be my head that snaps. So as we take our step forward and we fade back, we roll a little bit. In addition to giving us a little bit safer position here, it's also going to allow us more rotation into our cross, which will increase the power. Staying square, it's going to be minimal rotation. From there, I'm going to have maximum power. So this is something I really think you guys should try and add in. You just play around in your shadow boxing. You'll note that he does a couple jabs before, you move around, you gauge your distance. Maybe you let the guy jab you a couple times too. You take a couple off the arms. Boom, you block one. Boom, you block one. This guy thinks he has his range down. Now he goes to throw. You do your fade and you step in and you surprise them. That's how I would go about thinking is the best way to execute in sparring. It's how Pereira shows it. And again, if you just want to move around in your shadow boxing, you throw some jabs, do some blocks, do some parries, and then just take that little micro step forward. I think I even did too much there on the first one. I was more like that. We just want just that small little motion. And then from there, I think it's going to be deadly. So play around with that, guys. I love sharing things that I just learned. I go, wow, I've never taught that here. I need to work on it. And if a Glory World Champion is still learning from other Glory World Champions, other people around the world, and it does happen frequently, there's always room for everybody else to improve as well. Never stop learning. That's going to be a massive part to improving. And even as we get older, as I get older as a fighter, maybe you're not 100% as fast as you were. So you're slowing down, you get a little bit, I'm not gonna say weaker because a lot of times we get stronger as we get older, we get that man strength, but because of the lack of speed, you don't quite have that sting on your punch. So some things can decline, but the amount of knowledge you have can always be increasing. Even if you're not athletically as gifted as you were a month ago or 10 years ago or whatever, you can still keep getting better. Let's call it there. Thanks for joining, guys. And of course, thanks to Pereira for sharing another trick that allows him to be so deadly.